Alright, so a message to all the atheists out there. It's getting pretty popular. I mean, like, a lot of people out there are atheists nowadays. Like, it's just like, I don't know, I guess it's because, like, nowadays, like, being smart is cool, and because atheism, it revolves around, like, I don't know, I look at it as a religion that like, the answer to everything is what science says, and that, like, would be, like, the more intelligent people. But anyway, some of the points against it, a lot of you have no idea what the
unintelligent and unnecessary expletive
you are talking about.
There is a lot of atheists and agnostical people out there, and I think the most important question that believers have asked them is that if God don't exist, who wrote the Bible? See, that question in itself destroys atheism because, you can't just buy somebody's book and then say they don't exist. It's a paradoxicalism.
Atheism is wrong. Why? There's no hell, there's no afterlife, meaning that the very worst evils in us come out. You can see it in communism. That's a fact. Millions, more than the Nazis killed, of people were slaughtered by communists who believed that there was no hell. That's why they were so heartless and so cruel. That's reality. Get used to this. Choose Jesus.
I mean, but what is an atheist? I don't really get into that. I've talked to people all the time. I'm an atheist. I just walk away. I don't know what to say to you.
Well, an atheist is someone who doesn't quite believe that there is somebody out there, some God out there.
Well, then to me, you're an idiot.
Okay, well...
So I'm cool with that. I'm just probably
fine.
Not the right politically correct thing to say. But if you don't believe in God, I mean, really, you got to have an explanation for this. You just can't tell me this spun out of a gastrous ball.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, then we were evolved from monkeys. Why we still got monkeys? It's too much open here. I just believe that. And if you don't believe that, then I don't like talking.
It's a paradoxicalism.
Communism is definitely atheists because it's about having... life on Earth be good, not life in heaven.
A lot of people are commenting on my videos saying that there is no God, but I have something to say to those people. I want you to do me a favor and lift your arms up right now, like this. Now lift them down. And the only reason you can do that is because that you wanted to. God gave you free will, and He gave you a soul. Without those two very important things, then you wouldn't be able to control yourself like that. If there is no God, then how did we ever come into existence? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
You're the pinhead.
Happy New Year, everybody.
What you are about to hear is like nothing you've heard before.
This isn't just about debating. This is about making a difference.
It'll challenge you. It'll make you laugh. It'll upset you. But most importantly,
It'll make you think.
I actually have proof here. We just created a gay baby, 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 gay baby.
you're all dirty little heathens.
There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Testing 1, 2. Just want to make sure that I'm still alive after that little intro segment. It makes me feel like I'm a robot. Shutting down. Boom. What's up? 2014 is here. Get ready for another great episode of Dogma Debate, Best of Part 2. I am your host, Trent. This Best of Part 2 is actually going to be a little bit more on the serious side of things. Most of the clips that have been chosen for this one are a little more serious, and I picked a lot of these ones, just because I feel like they'll have a lot more of an impact on first-time listeners. If you're a first-time listener, definitely go back and listen to some of these episodes fully. I think you'll truly appreciate the full impact of some of these clips if you go back and hear them in their entirety. So let's go ahead and dive right in to Best of Part 2. So by popular demand, I'm going to play a clip from episode 81. This is called A Life Against.
It seems that each day I wake up thinking about new arguments against religion, new analogies that make a light bulb go off for some Christian that will trigger doubts, or perhaps a new quote that may send a listener back to their Bible for investigation. I spend a large amount of my time scheduling debates with Christians, arguing those who are pro-fetus, anti-choice, and getting guests appear on Dogma Debate, so yes, I can debate them. And then I travel, and I meet some amazing people, believers of every faith, even quirky, magic Native American goddess ones, and of course, non-believers. But when I stand back and I watch their day-to-day activities, I see them helping one another. I visit these different cultures and small-town churches, and I see that sometimes there is no homeless shelter because everyone has a home. I see religious retirement homes with 19-year-old volunteers that aren't doing it for community service. I see organizations designed to help children who put on free community events and provide free medical care and education in their respective communities. And then I feel guilty. I feel guilty for not directing my focus toward a more charitable cause, such as a medical center for kids or a volunteer program for the elderly. Sometimes I feel like I'm wasting my time. Witnessing these touching human interactions, I begin to have a bit of cognitive dissonance of my own, and I wonder if I'm happy. And more importantly, if I'm making anyone else happy, or am I truly doing the world any good at all? Am I really making the world a better place, or am I wasting a lifetime being against something rather than for something? It seems that I'm always taking a negative position, starting a fight, or challenging authority in protest. To be honest, I don't like the way that feels. And in my darkest hours, I've considered giving this all up to focus more on a charitable cause with immediate results, helping someone in need. And then I remember what's at the root of the monster I'm fighting. The kids that I see others helping are growing up in this world, and they're having to deal with discrimination facing them. I often look out over the playgrounds and I wonder which one of these children are going to grow up to realize they're gay and lesbian and need a straight advocate on their side willing to fight against the religious majority for their equality. I think back to the letters I've received from those retirement homes where atheists in their final years have requested books by Dawkins or Hitchens or Harris and have been denied on the basis of hate speech. And then it occurs to me, those who I start fights with are those who are oppressing our innocent human population in one way or another. And that means I'm not living a life against religion as much as I am living a life for freedom and equality. And if that means trampling religion as it stands in my way, so be it. Those religious oppressors have set themselves against science, progress, truth, civil rights, and have appointed themselves as spiritual leaders, claiming to have knowledge we're not righteous enough to have. And when you set yourself against something as powerful as human evolution and sociological progression, you're asking to be destroyed. And that's where I come in. And then I feel guilty again. I feel guilty for considering not doing this anymore and letting you down. Each and every atheist out there can make a difference. While the results aren't always immediate, every respectful discussion you have that challenges religious authority is a step in the right direction. So don't worry if you have doubts about your purpose or wonder if you're really living a life believing in nothing or being against something like we often hear. We're not. We believe in each other to continue evolving and progressing, despite those who want to keep us in a stagnant pool of fear. And most importantly, we believe in a future without religious discrimination. Our life is not against anything but those who oppose freedom from religion. And that, my friends, is a life worth living and a war worth fighting.
A pretty big reason why I started the show the way I did with those clips, playing this clip first, just to sum up a lot of the reason why we fight, why we feel the way we do, and we strive for what we feel is best for humanity. And that was definitely a very, very pivotal point, or part rather, in any Dogma Debate episode. So, very happy to share that with you. This next clip I'm going to play for you is from episode 41. This is the episode with Nate Phelps. He talks about getting out of the Westboro Baptist Church, and a few other things during this episode. And this clip specifically talks about Nate coming out, getting out of the family, leaving, and discovering some new things on his own. So definitely enjoy this clip here, episode number 41.
You were born and raised in the church, in the Westboro Baptist Church, from literally day one up until, at what point did you have a realization that something's not right here? This is not good.
Well, if you're talking about the religious question, that wasn't until I was long gone. But as far as my, observing that situation and realizing how much different I saw the world than my father did, that was probably when I was 10 or 11 years old. Is when
I mean, when you realized he may not be speaking for God directly, when that was the first time that came into your head.
I was long gone. That was years after I left there.
Really? So what was the cat? So it wasn't the fact that perhaps what he's saying is not really from God. That's not what made you leave?
No. In fact, when I left convinced that he was right about me and about all of that, and that I was going to go to hell. And
wow.
But it was such a violent environment, and I so disagreed with who he was as a person.
So you left first and foremost for the violence.
For the violence, yeah. And because I just didn't belong there. It just was
so it's okay, so it's not like you just said, I disagree with this dogma, I'm out of here. You were leaving for your safety.
Yeah. And
I can only assume, being 11 or 12, that's when you started saying, I got to get out of here?
No, I didn't actually. At that point, you're so caught up in that feeding his needs that you don't really see yourself as separate from that situation. It wasn't until my older brother Mark left when I was 16 that the thought even occurred to me that was a possibility. So
wow.
And that was when I started thinking about leaving.
Okay, and I can only assume as you got older and became more of a larger person, tall, a young adult, 15, 16 years old, you're growing into your early stages of a young man, that the physical violence became harder and more aggressive. Would that? I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure they're
exactly
not.
Right.
I'm sure they're not spanking a 5-year-old the same as they were spanking a 16-year-old.
That's right. Yeah, and it it got even more aggressive, specifically with me because I was always at odds with the old man. So I was pretty much the black sheep of the family at that point. By the time I was 16, so. And heard the old man's judgment in the sense that, I was going to go to hell and that I was, Satan's minion and that kind of stuff. So by the time I decided to leave, I was leaving. And I remember having this thought so clearly. I was sitting in the church pew and I was doing the math. And I thought, okay, so Christ is going to return around the year 2000. So that'll put me at about 42. I'm just going to go out and I'm going to live my life the way I want to live my life, and I'll deal with that at that time. So I left believing it all, believing that I was going to go to hell.
That is interesting. I did not know that about you.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So, I mean, and that's part of that whole, when I talked about how things just started to fall apart, sometimes I wonder how much of that had to do with the fact that the year 2000 was closing in, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever had that conscious thought, but, things started getting pretty ugly around that time for me. So...
That is interesting. I didn't realize. I thought that you became an atheist in the household and said none of this is true and left. No. You left as a Christian, and not just a Christian, as a Christian that still subscribed to that level of dogma.
Yeah, and was
you were just terrified of the violence,
of the reality of it. Well, and I was terrified of the reality of it when I left, but it wasn't enough to keep me from leaving.
And you still didn't even leave at 16.
No.
What about it at 16 did you know you couldn't leave yet?
Well, my oldest sister, Kathy, had left when she was 17. She was about 17 and a half, and she left. And the old man tracked her down and found her, and we went over. It was like, 2 carloads of Starsky and Hutch, come screeching up and blocked the car. There was a guy that was picking her up for a date, I assume. And she comes walking out, and we literally forced her into the car and forced her home. And he was...
How old were you at this time?
I was probably about 15, I think. And he brutally beat her for months. Literally locked her in a room upstairs, made her fast because she was too heavy. That was another big issue that he was so crazy about, was our weight, because he ended up in the hospital with health problems because of his weight. But, I don't want to go too far afield here, but he was really brutally violent with her until she was finally 18 and she got the hell out of there. But the message was clear that he controlled us until we were 18, right? Meanwhile, Mark turns around and leaves, but he was like 19 or so when he made the decision. And the old man still tried to force him back, but couldn't. He didn't have any power ultimately, right?
Speaking of these other people, to JL's question about credibility,
right?
Can these other people that left the church corroborate your story and
Sure.
say, yes, there was violence to this extreme?
They can and they do. Yeah, they absolutely do. So,
and do you still stay in touch with him?
Well, I worked with Mark for 25 years in the printing business in Southern California, so he and I are close.
Very cool.
And Dortha is still in Topeka, and we have a good relationship. We just don't get to talk that often.
So why do you think they haven't? Are they atheist? Are they Christian? What is their worldview
Mark
right
would
now?
call himself a mainstream Christian, and Dortha's got an unusual spiritual belief. I think Christ is involved in it somehow, but I'm not sure I understand it.
Okay.
Something about an ancient soul who speaks through some, what would you call them? She goes into a trance, and then this 450-year-old.
Like a medium?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's the whole theology that flows from that, which is kind of interesting. But Dorothy's a good girl.
So they have all corroborated your story and said you're telling. Okay, so JL, there's another answer to your question.
Yeah.
There are other credible witnesses that can also say what Nate is saying.
Yeah, but they're sinners, so they don't count either.
Oh, because they're of evilness.
Right.
That makes perfect sense.
Of course.
Anything that's against us must be of the devil.
Right.
Right.
That's exactly what they believe.
So you weren't at the time 16. You witnessed this, or at 15 you witnessed a failed leave from someone who was 17. So you realize at that point you cannot leave until you're 18 years old.
Right.
On your 18th birthday, this is how critical it was that you get the hell out of there. Tell us the plan. Tell us how it unfolded. I just heard you tell this,
right,
and it's a remarkable story, but my listeners have not heard it.
Yeah. So I would say probably when I was about 17 and a half, I had saved up enough money. I bought a used car from the security person at the high school that I went to, and I parked it 2 or 3 blocks away, kept it hidden. No one knew I owned it.
Just on the street?
Yeah, just down the street from where I lived, one of the side streets. And I would go and move it every once in a while so it didn't, get anybody's attention. And then at the time, the garage was messy enough that I was able to, I'd pack a box of my stuff and go and hide it in the garage. I had probably 5 or 6 boxes that was pretty much my worldly possessions.
Sure.
So I got that all taken care of. And then on the night of my 18th birthday, when it was about 10:30, 11 at night, and I went and, once everybody was asleep, and ran and got the car and backed it into the driveway and rolled up the garage door, put all the stuff, the boxes into the trunk, shut it down, and then pulled the car out onto the street, but kept it right there.
What was going through your mind at that moment that you were backing it in? I bet you were just terrified.
I was high energy. I was just I was manic at that point, right? And
because technically you were 17.
I was, for another hour. So
wow.
So then I sneaked back into the house and well, it's kind of hard to describe the household, but I went into the main dining room area. It was the largest room in the house, and right in the middle of it was a set of stairs that went up to my father's room. And if you stood right at the base of those stairs, you could look over to my left, and there were 3 refrigerators and freezers lined up along this wall. And there was this old red clock that had been there my whole life, literally. So I'm watching that clock, and I could turn over here and look. There was a door that went out into the auditorium of the church.
Towards your right.
To my right. and I could see the old man's pulpit, that where he preached from. So I literally just stood there for the last 10 minutes or so.
So the church is connected to the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his law office was too. So everything was in that one big building there. So
okay, so you're standing there. You're looking at the clock for the last 10 minutes. You're waiting, literally, to turn 18.
Yeah. And just stood there and watched the clock.
Because if you would have left 10 minutes early and he caught you within the 9-minute time frame,
yeah,
you were afraid of what would happen to you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, realistically, at that point, if someone had stirred, I would have just left. But so it was symbolic. It was, I'm going to wait here and when the time comes, I'm out of here. But I wouldn't have hung around. I would, I can stay hidden for at least 10 minutes, that kind of thing, right? If I need to. But I had also I had a friend at a gas station that was right adjacent to the high school I went to, and I had spent time hanging out there. And the guy who owned the gas station, I told him what I was planning on doing, and I didn't have anywhere to stay. So he said, well, you can sleep in the bathroom here. So that's as far as I looked forward. I'm going to get out of here, and then I'll deal with whatever I have to deal with.
Now, you know what? Talk about perspective. Think about the people who have had to sleep in a bathroom and thought, this is the worst case scenario. This is rock bottom. And for you, that was absolute paradise.
That's exactly right.
That first night
I was
in that
so
bathroom,
elated to be out of there, yeah.
I can imagine that now the concept of I have to sleep in a bathroom versus I get to sleep in a bathroom. That's incredible. I mean, it's inspiring as well.
Yeah.
So you did that. You went to that.
I waited until it hit midnight, and I yelled at the top of my lungs, and I ran like hell.
What did you say?
I just yelled, just screamed.
To wake them up, or
well, yeah. I wasn't trying to wake him up, but I was just so excited, and I thought, okay, this is he can't control me anymore, and took off running out the back door.
That was definitely one of the most amazing parts of Dogma Debate. Even before I started, with Dogma Debate, that episode, when I went and listened to that, man, was I had like tons of emotion going through me, and I really felt for what he went through, and it's just amazing that family exists at all, period. I mean, it's just awful to think about everything that they do, and that they're okay with it, and the struggles and things they put their family members through. It's just a terrible thing. Ugh. Yucky. This one goes out to Arkologic. Yo, let me bring your attention off the clip from Nate. Even though it was great, I got a piece for you from 68. It's Arkologic, the man from Destiny Lab, coming with the fallacies and all types of flim-flam. That's really all I got. That's all I wrote down on this piece of paper next to me, but yep. Anyway, here's the episode number 68. We've got Arkologic from Destiny Lab. Enjoy. Stop bobbing your head.
I want to say, Arkologic, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I want to say it's important to keep the conversation going, because I don't want either side of this. I don't want Christians to listen to your music and get so angry and hate and full of hate against atheists that they stop thinking about our position. And then I don't want atheists to also listen to your music and get so angry and offended by your assumptions of what you think we tell our children, and how horrible and empty our lives must be, and how worthless and no purpose and nothing that we live for, and get offended by that and stop talking to you and stop understanding your position. Because ultimately, and you may find this condescending, I don't mean it that way, but ultimately I think the only thing lacking here is reviewing the facts. Because I can, like Aaron said, I can tell you that I do not believe your God exists, and you can't demonstrate that. You can show that you believe it, but you can't demonstrate it. I
could demonstrate it.
Right, I understand that. We all agree to that. You can't demonstrate it. It's based on faith. Okay. We, on the other hand, can completely demonstrate evolution. Yet you deny it, which means you are willfully remaining ignorant of the facts that are out there. And that's where we have a disconnect. We are open to the facts. Most people in here, in this studio right now, have read large portions of the Bible, if not the entire thing, more than once. So we
let me
have
ask you
looked
this.
into it.
Book of Hezekiah, is that Old or New Testament?
Book of
Old Testament.
Yeah. Book. I didn't know.
Actually, you guys are biblical.
Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, just because we know one question doesn't mean we know it.
There is no Book of Hezekiah in the Bible, so that kind of shows you how much you know about the Bible, I think.
Can I bring up
Good
something
illustration.
that I
That
think
was stupid. That was the dumbest thing that's ever happened on this show.
I want to bring up something.
Well, why would you answer? You knew what it was when you don't.
I
you guys
didn't-
claim to be biblical scholars.
Whoever claimed to be a
you don't
biblical
even
scholar?
know that's not even a verse in the Bible.
Whoever claimed to be a scholar? I'd actually never heard of the
You guys
book.
said you knew all about the Bible.
No, I said
And
we've
that's
read
the
it.
difference between
Name a
atheists
fossil.
Well,
on this show.
I mean, it doesn't mean.
I
Look,
just want
just
to say
because
that just because I don't know what just happened because I don't read the Bible doesn't mean that I go, okay, what was it? Let me look at it. Let me read it. Let me understand it. And let's
right,
have a
that's the
conversation.
difference. That's the difference.
And
We
my,
was-
my curiosity was like, Hezekiah, where the hell is Hezekiah? What the hell?
yeah,
is
I was
Hezekiah?
thinking it could have been one of those little one-off books. Hell,
Yeah,
I don't know. It sounds-
that's not even that's not even included.
Or even like the Catholic only books.
Okay, well, here's,
right, the Catholic only books. I don't know those.
I've cited.
I don't
I've
know the
cited-
Apocrypha very well.
I've cited signs of the or quotes out of the Bible where I've had Christians come and say that's not in the Bible, and I said, well, you're not looking at the right version. Let me show you. Yeah, you can find things that are in different versions that aren't in every version, but
including the Apocrypha, where you go, well, those are some obscure Catholic books. I didn't know about that. I don't know.
And God, what was it? Aphias? No,
There's no different versions of the Bible. There's the Holy Bible written
and there's
in
like
different
96
languages.
different versions of it. There's the Weymouth Bible, the Dartmouth Bible, the New American Standard, the New Revised Standard, the King James.
This doesn't even matter, though.
No, they don't.
This doesn't
They're
even
different translations. If you read the Weymouth Bible, for example, when it gets into Leviticus and it talks about all the things you can eat, it lists nothing but
I'm talking
lizards.
about the
Everything's
actual,
a lizard.
like,
And then when you get
Holy
into
Bible,
another
not all these
version,
Guys, I'm not going to allow this to happen. I'm sorry. I'm not. This is not going to happen. I'm not going to allow this to happen. We are all going to talk one at a time, or nobody is talking, period. I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to have Maury Povich on Dogma Debate. I'm not. This is insane. So let's talk.
Okay.
And let's be open. I want to say this before, and I want Aaron, I'm going to let you talk next. I promise. But let me say this. What you just did is immature, amateurish, and downright stupid. You've said that you have studied fossils. I didn't throw out a fossil at you and ask you if you could do it by memory. That's not the point. That's not the way it works. Just because we have analyzed the Bible over a period of 13, 14, 15 years, we know that there are multiple different versions of the Bible, including the Apocrypha and books that some of us haven't heard of. Even if we've read King James, doesn't mean we've read the proper Catholic Bible. We don't know. You try to put people on the spot with a trapping technique. That doesn't work. We didn't do that to you. You know why? Because we're concerned about you actually continuing your knowledge. We want you to finish this and not be angry with us, but actually go look at the evidence we point you to. But all you're trying to do is a trapping thing so you can look good and flex your muscle and go, ha, you didn't really know that wasn't a book in the Bible. That is ridiculous. That's something out of 7th grade, and it's stupid.
Know about the Bible. I mean,
right.
It doesn't mean that. That doesn't mean we don't know about the Bible. That doesn't mean that.
Okay.
Let me say that I was wrong about it being introducibly complex.
Right. She just explained to you how, and you already knew how when you listened to Kenneth Miller. So let's hear you admit it.
Wrong. I mean, I think that these things are irreducibly complex. I don't even see what you're trying to say here.
She just explained to you
Look,
how
we had all the same evidence in front of us. It's a matter of
Excuse
interpretation
me,
of how you
logically,
you don't know where those things came from. You don't know the
but we
origin
do.
of all these.
But
these
we do.
pieces and parts of nature.
And we already know that you cannot have the same facts apply as evidence to two mutually exclusive conclusions that is logically implausible. Have you heard of the law of non-contradiction? That's what we're talking about here. So, let's hear you concede. You have heard Kenneth Miller explain that the bacterial flagellum is not irreducibly complex. You heard Rachel re-explain how it is not irreducibly complex. You've heard both explanations. You said you understand them. Now have you admit that it is not.
So if somebody has an explanation, you just have to agree with it or nothing.
No.
I mean, I can give an explanation of all kinds of things.
Did he explain it?
You either admit that I'm right or you're wrong. I mean, that makes no sense. I don't even know what you're talking about.
The claim was that science cannot explain this. Has science explained this or not?
It does not explain the origins of these pieces.
You did. No, you're changing the subject.
Right. Let me address that.
You can't
I know.
corner these people. They
Well,
will not be held accountable.
That's part of the argument.
Let me address it.
Creationism.
Where is the origin of each part and piece? I mean, that's the whole argument itself, is that these pieces did not arrive by themselves. Where did each piece just instantly arrive?
Okay.
And
Can I say
So
something?
if that's what the point is, then there's no reason why you won't admit that you have heard the scientific explanation. You can now admit that Kenneth Miller did explain, and you already knew that it was not irreducibly complex when you said that it was irreducibly complex. And Rachel has now said that it is not irreducibly complex, and she explained exactly how it was not. And she used the same argument you already knew when you said it was. So let's have you admit.
I agree with him, and I'm scared
the
at this
bacterial
point.
flagellum is not irreducibly complex. The science has explained it after Intelligent Design said they could not.
Right.
They did. They showed a stack of books where they did. Admit that they did.
I just want to say that, the fact that you said, I know, I'm trying to make it in.
No, he wants him to answer.
I know.
Yes, I want him to answer.
I just want to add one tiny thing what he said. Don't worry, he can answer after. I just want to give him a time to let his blood pressure go down a little bit. 'Cause
No.
I'm scared too. You said, I want the origin of every piece of the flagellum. It's like saying we have all of these fossils of all of these different animals for millions of years, but if we don't have 100 in these tiny little gaps, that means that every other fossil and every other origin and every other line of evidence doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Right.
So we show you evidence, and even if we don't have the exact origin of one of the 40 parts of the flagellum, does not mean that we don't have something to say.
But I think we do, don't we?
And we do. We have something to say.
Let's get back to the corner where he belongs.
I want to recap that.
Okay.
You've already said, Arkologic, you've said it doesn't matter at this point if it's irreducibly complex or not, because the parts on their own, we can't explain the origin of those individual pieces. That's what you said. So if it doesn't matter that it's irreducibly complex, why can't you accept the scientific explanation that it is in fact not irreducibly complex?
And admit it.
Can you concede that, okay, fine, it's not, but it doesn't matter? Can you at least say that?
That it concede that there are things that are less complex than other things?
Can you concede
there are
specifically?
Things that are less complex than other
let's
things.
not change the subject.
No, this isn't going anywhere.
Let's not change the subject. Just simply admit what we've already explained, what you already
We have a show
know
to
to be
do.
true.
We have a show to do. Can you admit that it's not irreducibly complex, and then say it doesn't matter because you can't explain the origins? Because then there could be an entire argument about the origins.
Let's be specific. The bacterial flagellum.
Right.
Let's have him admit that the bacterial flagellum is not irreducibly complex and that science has explained its origin. Admit it.
Do you agree?
No, I don't.
All right.
Okay, then he's straight out lied. He told us earlier that he understood that it was an explanation. He said repeatedly that it was an explanation. Now he's saying that they didn't explain it. He said that it didn't matter, and now it does. It is the crux. It is the lie that he's based on.
Arkologic, are you sure you're not Arkolame? All right, we're going to go to break. See you in a second.
Compass120.com has apparel for the freethinker. That's men's, women's, and children's freethinker apparel with a special collection just for Dogma Debate 4th listeners. Stop by Compass120.com, that's COMPASS120.com, and check out the wonderful designs that you'll want to wear to your next secular meetup, convention, or just around town to let everyone know that you're willing to be counted as a freethinker. Compass120.com has the Christopher Hitchens profile shirt with the famous quote, "That which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence." The Dogma Debate collection includes the Dogma Debate t-shirt with the I Am Fourth hashtag on the back for men and women, everyone's favorite Jerry DeWitt's profile and his quote on atheism, skepticism, agnosticism, and humanism, and Keith Lowell Jensen's "Thank a Union Member, It's Friday." If you're a free thinker and you want to show your colors, go to Compass120.com, use the code Dogma Debate for a 10% discount, and show the world not just what you think, but that you think. Compass120.com.
So what do atheists want? What do atheists want from Christians in this country? Well, I'll tell you a few things that I would like. First of all, I'd like you to believe whatever you want, but I'd like you to be skeptical in your beliefs, because your beliefs are your own business, but people will try to use your beliefs to control you. Charlatans and others know that you are more likely to do what they want you to do if they tell you God, Jesus, or the Bible tells you you should do it. When you hear those words, beware. Someone is trying to control you.
I'm Todd Stiefel, and I'm the fourth listener of Dogma Debate.
Seriously, guys? Really? That funny? That funny? Yeah, you're still laughing. Seriously, guys, that funny? Marco meme? That funny? Wow. No wonder your show's canceled. Welcome back to Dogma Debate, Best of Part 2. I'm your host, Trent. If you are a first-time listener, for those who don't know, you can go to login.dogmadebate.com and sign up for our monthly membership. There you can check out the forums, get access to a member forum, and get access to a live video recording of our show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. And you can also take part in some of the goofy rantings and silly sound effects and whatever. There's tons of content on there. Just go. Jeez Louise. Well, I gotta sit here and tell you all about it. Just hurry up and go. Login.dogmadebate.com. Alright, moving right along here on our Best of show. Part 2, I'm going to bring you to an episode that featured a preacher who came on secretly an atheist. Now, this was a very, very important episode for a lot of people who didn't understand anything about the Clergy Project or anything. If you don't know, definitely check the Clergy Project out. Simple Google search. On top of that, it was a very, very hard discussion to listen to. And it definitely will move mountains, I will tell you that. So, episode number 67, Preacher is Secretly an Atheist.
So, there is this mindset that live by example. In other words, appear to be like the Stepford wives, and they will want to be as perfect as you. When they say they will see Christ in you, that's what they mean. They mean that perfection that is Christ personified, that perfection. See how perfect you can be, which means fake it as much as you possibly can. Be somebody that you're not. Don't show them your flaws. Pretend to be perfect, and then they will want to be perfect just like you. And you're right. It's absolute manipulation. So my concern is, she knows that you're an atheist at this point. You going to an atheist meeting doesn't make you any more atheist. It just makes it more official that you're embracing that. And that's why I'm concerned when you finally do resign. I want to know your thoughts around that. When you finally do resign, are you going to be once again concerned about the stability of your marriage?
Well, that is a very good point. And what I'm doing right now is that for the sake of my marriage, I am temporarily not being who I am around my wife. Because, I understand that this isn't what my wife signed up for. Even though she loves me, this is not what she signed up for. She wanted to marry a Christian. She wanted to marry a minister. And I understand that, because if the shoe was on the other foot and she no longer believed, I would be exactly the way she is. And so I understand where she's coming from. But I am, at this moment, temporarily kind of holding back on who I am so that I can see where my marriage is, where it's going, but there is going to be a time, and it might be like you're talking about when I finally resign. But the thing is, there's going to be a time where I am going to have to determine what's more important to me. Me being an authentic person or my love for my wife. And if my wife cannot love me as an authentic person, then that is going to be, I see it in the future happening. And it scares me to death, but at the same time, I know it's going to happen. And I have too much confidence in who I am to allow myself, my whole life, not to be who I am.
I really hope you guys really felt that. It's just so much emotion, and it's unbelievable. It's almost hard to believe that this show exists. Just the fact that we get to hear things like this, like real emotion, real live emotion, and real people's issues and their life surrounded by whatever religion they're associated with. It's just so unbelievably difficult to hear sometimes, and just so thankful that the show helps people and really gets them to come out and be themselves. And I'm glad that we are a sense of comfort for all those listeners out there. Okay, moving right along in our best of part 2, I'm going to take you back to episode number 72, Female Preacher versus an Atheist. This episode got kind of interesting near the end of it, and I'm going to play you a clip that I think was kind of one of the pivotal points in the whole discussion. So enjoy that, episode number 73, Female Preacher versus Atheist.
Why would some people still be suffering?
Well, here's the thing. The more people that receive Christ and actually follow him, the more you see these wonderful things happening. I mean, that's the point. It's a message of love and the power of God. I remember once I prayed for a woman. I had no idea. Her diagnosis was paralysis. I just didn't know. And I prayed for this lady over the phone, and this woman could not zip a zipper or open a bottle. But the Holy Spirit touched her. She said she felt power go through her body. And later when I spoke with her niece said that her aunt was driving herself to the store now. Her aunt was doing her own shopping. I mean, this is the power of God. And this is the evidence that I've experienced, my own relationship with God and seeing him do miracles. You know, there are terrible things happening on this earth. And the beauty is that when we receive Christ, we have an ability to do the things of God, you know, and acts of love, acts of mercy, acts of kindness and justice.
So,
you know, I remember
if a God, I understand you have stories. If a God exists that is helping you save these people and do these miraculous healings, why would some people still suffer? Why do you think God allows someone like J.C. Dugard to be beaten and raped for 18 years? Yet he will heal a woman's foot in your church.
Well, I think about the woman with the issue of blood. She had that problem for years and years. And when she finally was healed, it says because God was going to glorify himself through it.
Okay, so that's an issue for me. So now what we've come to is God is allowing these people to continue to suffer so that one day he can heal them and take all the credit and be glorified. So the 18 years of her being raped and beaten was all for the better, because in the 19th year when she's rescued, he can say, I saved her.
No, that's not God at all.
Well, you said it's because he can be glorified, though.
But see, the point is that when God is glorified, it draws people to him. And see, he's good. He's good. He's
that doesn't
loving.
sound. I have to be honest with you,
He's
Judy.
merciful.
I respect you. I like you a lot. I like both of you. I have to tell you, that's disturbing to me. That doesn't sound good to me. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about God. When you say that God lets people suffer and hurt just so that you can lay your hands on him and suddenly he's better so that more people come to him, it sounds like he has a very low self-esteem and needs to be praised and told that he's great.
No. Okay, put it this way. Let's say someone is heading for a waterfall.
Okay.
Wouldn't you do whatever you could to rescue them from going over the edge?
Sure.
When God draws someone to himself, he's saving them from ultimately going to hell.
Right, but that's not answering my question of why people still stay captive. I hate to keep coming back to it, but I'm not getting an answer. Why would some people still be suffering? Because as often as it happens, right, there's a pretty good chance, because of our population is now over 7 billion, that somewhere, somebody is being held captive right now that we don't know about. And that 8 years from now, it's going to come out that this person that we thought went missing has been held captive. So right now, there's somebody locked in a basement with handcuffs being beaten and raped. Why isn't God helping that person, but he's helping you heal a foot? That sounds crazy to me, that he would be worried about someone's foot, yet not helping this, say, teenage girl who's being raped and beaten in a basement.
Okay, this is the point. When you're seeing these horrible things happening on the earth, that's the evidence, whoever this captor is, that's the evidence of someone who does not know God, who is not following God.
But what if the
and
victim
loving God.
does? What if the victim does? What if the victim was you? What if the victim was somebody who was a devout Christian who absolutely loved Jesus with all her heart?
History is full of that. Christians went to the stake because of their belief.
I know, but I'm saying why I know history's full of it. That's kind of my evidence.
In fact, it's happening across the earth right now. The Muslims are persecuting Christians in the droves, and the Buddhists are persecuting the Christians.
So Scripture says a couple things. One, it says that all of creation is, I don't have the exact wording in my head, but bound under the burden of sin right now, of the fall, as you're familiar with the term, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But and groaning to be set free from that. We do live, as Christians, we recognize we live in a fallen world. One of the promises that you won't find most Christians claiming or praying over themselves came directly from Jesus. He said, in this world, you will have trouble. But I've overcome the world. Mm. So
some trouble.
Hold on. It actually ties back into an analogy you were trying to make earlier about the difference between eternity and life here. So we get very focused on the trials and tribulations that we go through in life here. In all of eternity, as bad as they are, it's a small thing. And bringing someone to Christ for all eternity is of far greater importance than something that someone suffers through here on earth. I mean, I'm sure you've suffered through things. We've suffered through things. You know, everybody goes through things here on earth. That's part of being here in a fallen world. But it's all to prepare us and draw people into eternity.
And I know that you're not trying to minimize the suffering of people, because it's very real. But I know with Joyce Meyer, you know, after however many years that she suffered being abused by her father, you know, sexually abused. And yet here's the beauty. When she received Christ, God healed her and gave her hope of a future. You know, that's the beauty of Christ, is that despite whatever we've been through, and I've been through some things, but the beauty is with Christ, there's the ability to forgive and the ability to heal and experience joy.
So, obviously, in your story about the woman whose foot was healed, God knows that her having pain in her foot is a bad thing. So he allows that through you to be repaired, because he knows that that's not good for her to have pain in her foot. He can certainly recognize good from bad. He knows that her foot is hurting, and you've helped heal her foot through God. So then God also knows that Joyce Meyer, for 18 years, every time she was being raped and molested and beaten, every time it started, he knew it wasn't good. Why didn't he stop it?
Well, here's the message of hope, though. Here's the message of hope. The fact that someone can suffer such horrible things and still come out and be healed and productive. I mean, this woman, she's feeding so many people and clothing people.
Okay, but not everybody that
people.
went through that is becoming that productive. Some people commit suicide when they're 27 because they can't sleep at night. Some people end up on heroin. Some people end up self-medicating to the point that they OD on drugs. I mean, so not everyone comes out. So are you saying that in the times that like with Joyce Meyer, he knew he had a plan for her, so he let her go through all of that pain and torture and suffer so that she would come out and bring more people to him later?
Here's the message
because
of hope.
That sounds selfish to me.
Here's the message of hope. If you or anyone listening has been through any horrible, horrific thing, you're not doomed to PTSD. You're not doomed to nightmares. You're not doomed to a life of torment. When you accept Christ and say something as small as, Jesus, save me, Jesus comes and he brings healing, and he can heal someone who's suffering mentally, suffering from depression, suffering from things that happen in childhood. That's the message of hope.
So do you acknowledge that there are people who are listening to you right now, or that have done this in the past, that went through something like that and said, Jesus, heal me, and were not healed? Or do you think everybody that says it immediately becomes healed?
I know that everyone who receives Christ receives Christ.
Okay, but everyone who asks doesn't always receive Christ. There are people that cry out to God for help all the time and don't get it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
People that cry out for help, for prayer, save me, do something, fix this problem.
I am talking about...
and they still lose their home to the tornado, or their dog still gets ripped out of their arms, or their child is still missing for 15 years and they find the body in the... Those people pray too, Judy.
I know.
Those people pray and they never see their child again. Those people pray to be okay and to recover, and they never get okay, and sometimes they kill themselves and they go crazy. To me, if you're suffering from PTSD, you're right. You're not doomed to it. There is cognitive behavioral therapy. There are secular scientific ways to get over these problems. Some require medication. Some require just changing your behavior and learning how to process. And that's what secular therapists can help you do. I don't think you have to lean on Jesus or a belief in any deity in order to get better.
Here's the thing. When you do pray and you accept Christ, and you genuinely do accept Christ, he does heal the soul. He does heal your spirit. He does heal your mind. And he heals people's bodies. And some people get miracles and it happens instantly. And some people it's a process and it happens over time. Okay. My point is that God is good. And I've seen him do wonders. And there's hope for everyone. Even someone who has said that they are an atheist. I just want to say this. Peter denied Christ 3 times. I don't want anyone to think that God can't forgive you if you said that God doesn't exist and then you decide, I want to believe. God will honor the person who comes back and turns back and says, you know what, help my unbelief. He'll listen to that prayer. I know he will. So I don't want anyone to think that they're doomed.
So as we close in on the 1 hour mark, I'm going to leave you guys once again with the episode 68, but this time it's towards the end of the episode. We get to meet Susie, who came into the studio and talked to David a little bit. Personally, for me, this was my absolute favorite part of any Dogma Debate in 2013. Hands down, that's kind of why I saved it for last. So this is also on the Destiny's Lab episode number 68. This is Susie live in studio.
I am a listener of the show. I like to, I don't know. I just think it's interesting to check out different things.
So you listen to my show for the same reason I listen to Fox News.
Oh, good. I hope you don't listen to Fox News. This conversation has ended.
No, I listen because I have to pull audio of my crazy Republicans from somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what were you going to say? Because you're in the ministry. I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead.
Because I'm in the ministry, and we can get there with our interview, but it's because I want to look at all angles. I don't want to look at just the angles that would seem interesting to me. I want to look at the why nots as well as the whys.
Now that is a beautiful concept, and that is what brings the dialogue to the table. And honestly, that's why I created Dogma Debate to begin with. I want to be able to have those types of open conversations with people of that mindset that don't want to just live in a box, listen to their preacher, listen to conservative talk radio, and think everyone else is an idiot. Let's open our minds and see what else is out there, and I love that. I love that concept. So I think we're already off to a great start, although this might be the last thing we agree on.
Okay. And I did research your book, didn't order it yet, but I see that you've written a book, Baptized Atheist, so I am very interested in ordering that and reading that.
Okay. What's your favorite part of the show?
I think your genuine interest in people and understanding their process. I think the last thing I watched recently, I did check you out before this this conversation,
okay.
But it was your compassion for the minister that you said, the preacher that's the atheist or hidden atheist or whatever. Mm-hmm. Just the way that you had compassion and concern about their journey. To me, that said a lot. And I really, really love that. And as weird as this may seem, I thought to myself, well, I don't know if you're going to like this, but I thought, well, God is using both of us, but in extremely different ways. So that's how I saw it. But I thought it was beautiful.
I can appreciate that, and thank you. And I do care about people, and I care about people coming to those conclusions, and I care about people understanding the truth.
Absolutely.
Okay, so hit me with it. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. Can an atheist have the same moral understanding as a Christian could?
An atheist, I think, has the potential to have a far better understanding of morality when you embrace humanity as that one thing that's bigger than you. When you introduce religion, morals are capped at whatever that God says is moral. I, as a non-believer, never could anyone ever tell me to murder a child. I don't care what it appeared to be. I don't care how powerful it appeared to be. I would rather die on the spot and be sent to an eternal place of damnation, if such a place existed, than to inflict that torture myself upon a child. And
Correct.
For a person that believes in a religion, they will. And they have multiple times. And not only have they, it has been rewarded biblically. It has been rewarded by that God for attempting that torture. It has been ordered by that God to commit that torture. But you know what? Some things aren't worth paradise. Some things are not worth eternity in heaven with a Jesus. If I have to kill a baby in order to get there, give me my ticket to hell. You can have heaven and your baby killers, because I'm not going.
Well, fourth listeners, that concludes our best of part 2. Don't forget to tune in January 8th. That's when we will all be back. And also don't forget, check out www.login.dogmadebate.com and become a member today. Continue the support. We really, really, really appreciate it. Really, from the bottom of our heathenistic hearts. We love you all very, very much. And we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful 2014. I don't know if you're still listening, but if you are the best fourth listener ever. Ever in the history of any fourth listener. Ever! Except for maybe a couple others that I could think of who might be better than you. But right now, you're the best. You're the best. Okay, so yeah, we're going to drop a little bit of Reason Egg on you again. This is going to be like a part 2 of the Reason Eggs. We're just going to drop a whole bunch more on you. So, sit back, relax, and get ready for MC Kari Hanakana Nasha. Woo! Yeah. His last name is pretty hard to pronounce, though, but I'm fairly certain it's Kari Hanakayan. If I'm wrong, Kari, take it up with me, man. Just leave the fourth listeners alone. But we love you. Anyway, enjoy.
We have a very, very well documented evolution of beer.
This is a science show!
I came from slime and a snake is my cousin.
This is a science show!
Sciencey mumbo jumbo love fest of science geeks.
I have something to say about everything.
Richard Nixon taught me a lesson. Kids, don't disobey your parents. They might kill you. I've got an uncomfortable silence all around me.
Oh, okay. Let me see. There was, what was it? No. Yeah, there was. I can't. I remember they gave me a free bar tab.
And that proves evolution right. This guy has been walking with dinosaurs since 100 million years ago.
This is a science show!
I started reading as a teenager.
Ain't no gay chickens.
This is a science show!
Sciencey mumbo jumbo.
Say hi to the monkeys.
Why are monkeys still here? I didn't come from goo.
What? What is this? Oh, finches. They look similar. Oh, eagle.
Worm. Tree. Oh, they're all related.
It's either science or nonsense.
This is a science show!
Boobs cause earthquakes, and we're going to squeeze both of them into one segment.
Wow, good job, guys. That was the first time.
You ever heard this chew tobacco spit?
Chew tobacco spit. Good old boy stuff. One of you should wear a cowboy hat during it. Chew tobacco spit. Chew tobacco spit.
Back at Chuda. And then they spit.
Some country songs, the guy sounds a little bit country and it's okay. Welcome back to the Dogma Debate. And I'm here, your host, David. Sound real country. And I'm a good old boy drinking whiskey. It's part of my culture. I'm a redneck. I have the Copenhagen in my mouth. I chew tobacco spit. I have a shotgun. I live in the country. I drive a truck. You know what? I better go drink some whiskey. I'm your buckaroo. I put my pistol on me, and I went and got in my pickup. It's manly to drink hard liquor, drive immediately afterwards. Green traffic light, turn straight to red. Chew tobacco spit. Chew tobacco spit.
Back at Chuda. And then they spit.
I went to the sink and I got some Resolve. Sprayed it on my cushions and I wiped it off. Country music. Hey, that's a country song. I like it. God, that sounds pretty redneck already.
Chew tobacco spit. You know.
He needs a little lubricant. Ain't a damn one know how to do the Dougie. Good old boy. Woohoo! McDonald's, let's do it. Prayer to the man upstairs. Okay. Prayer to the man upstairs. You clean your plate. Because Rodney Atkins said so. Yeah, eat all your food. You can be a big old cowboy. I heard y'all had sushi, so you can't be in love. Chew tobacco spit. Chew tobacco spit. Chew tobacco spit. Chew tobacco 3 times. Chew tobacco spit. Chew tobacco spit. Chew tobacco spit.
Chew tobacco spit.
Welcome to Texas, boy.
You take second ashtray.
Please don't punish us with a country song every show, please.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
On my butt. Oh. What happens there?
There's some funky looking fish there. And it's a woman. Now that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. I'm fine with that. That is considered now pornography.
Oh, yeah.
What is happening to the show right now? Not a lot of thinking going on here. What do you want to call this one?
It's a woman.
Sounds like what I used to be.
Oh, I never even noticed. We want empirical evidence.
It was in the bathroom.
Bathrooms are sexy.
Happy place. Happy place.
That's not good.
There's therapy for that. Satan's gonna put fire up your butt.
Oh, explosion! Then sex and etc. I hate Sarah Palin!
You're not gonna make everybody happy.
I hate Sarah Palin!
That's all right, honey. At least you believe in Jesus.
I hate Sarah Palin!
Someone get her a beer. Beer is really weird.
I hate Sarah Palin! Everyone can leave. I just want to talk to myself. I hate Sarah Palin! Sarah Palin! Sarah Palin! I hate Sarah Palin! That upset me. I usually end up embarrassing myself. I hate Sarah Palin! That should never come out of your mouth. I hate Sarah Palin!
The most hated woman in America.
Well, yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. I hate Sarah Palin! Sarah Palin! Sarah Palin!
Someone get the medication.
Watch your mouth. That's not funny. Punch so many people.
Let's keep it civil just for a little bit.
Well, it was necessary. I hate Sarah Palin! Sarah Palin! Sarah Palin! I can't explain it. It's a really, really complicated thing. Apparently, I'm a crack addict.
Are y'all ready to party?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. You're slowly unbuttoning your shirt.
I want to look good naked. Ripping my shirt off in front of the ant farm and flexing my muscles. Check that out. You don't have these, do you? Yeah, you don't have some biceps, do you, ants? Keep going.
Your clothes on. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Thick honking meat.
Wow!
It's huge. I am absolutely in love with Stephen Colbert. He used me to explode. He almost explodes too. Bam! I can't take it anymore.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Twist my nipple. Ooh! You know what? You're fired.
Franzes Spaten, Franzes Kanderbrau, Dunkelweißen Wiesbier.
I love the smell of burning flesh. I love the smell of burning flesh. I love the smell of burning flesh. Burning flesh.
I'd like to have the guy on the show, and I'd like to eat him.
That's to be expected.
Make me a sandwich.
I may pull some things out of my ass.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
Oh, this is beautiful. I'll take this home for a souvenir. What's wrong, Aaron?
Huh?
It would probably taste like crap.
I love the smell of burning flesh. I love the smell of burning flesh. I love the smell of burning flesh. Burning flesh.
What you need is to seek Jesus and have some bugs poop on you. But wait, there's more.
I would find it repulsive and disgusting.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm just trying to imagine a bunch of 30-year-olds at a Backstreet Boys concert.
I love the smell of burning flesh. Everybody. I love the smell of burning flesh. I love the smell of burning flesh. I love the smell of burning flesh. Burning flesh.
The devil will fuse his lies with truth to confuse you, but you must not listen. You understand me? You must not listen.
Join us.
I want to control women, and they think it's normal.
Join us.
Sister, dress up as me.
Join us.
Brains.
Join us.
Our evil liberal agenda?
I don't want to scare you.
I mean, we still like bananas. We're still very hairy. We don't throw poop at each other.
Boom. Skadoosh.
Magic scary things. You better become a Davidite.
Join us.
Yeah. Amen. Preach it.
Join us.
Thou shalt not for...
Join us.
Let me at the controls.
Okay.
Join us.
Walking around with testicles.
Okay, no, Aaron.
Join us.
I want all 47 kids in this city to be mine.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Join us.
Who all murmur the same thing. 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 You're so interesting on the radio.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. It's time once again, boys and girls. Hi, welcome to the radio show, Dogma Debate.
Dogma Debate.
That's true.
Dogma Debate.
Hold back and chill.
Dogma Debate.
You're officially blessed.
It's time for the Dogma Debate with David Smalley.
And I'm your host, David Smalley. Why do you even care? You just hate God. I hate you. Go to hell. Tow, yow. Chew tobacco, spit. I watch Fox News. Hillary Clinton is going to destroy the world. Tow, yow.
Vegetarians. Can't live with them, can't eat them. That is so disgusting.
Tow, yow.
Bingo!
No. Tow, yow.
You will smell something at some time.
I like that.
Everybody knows if we want to know how to fix the economy, go ask a redneck with a guitar.
Ooh, a bug.
Don't touch that thing. God, do you exist? No.
Dogma Debate.
That's true.
Dogma Debate.
You know, leprechauns.
Dogma Debate.
Proved Planet Nibiru.
It's time for the Dogma Debate with David Smalley.
And I'm your host, David Smalley. Why do you even care? You just hate God. I hate you. Go to hell. Tow, yow. Pat. Let's hear Pat Robertson.
Ask yourself, how many cupcakes do you eat?
Yeah, boner, demons in your clothes. Demons are in your pictures.
Why do I need men?
They make wonderful test subjects.
Yeah.
I want to be a transgendered horse.
Stop!
Tow, yow. Dirty-minded little freaks. You're all dirty little heathens. Vaginas are tougher than booty holes. Nope, that's been disproved. What? Damn it, Smalley.
Dogma Debate.
That's true.
Dogma Debate. Dogma Debate.
Let's burn the squirrels.
It's time for the Dogma Debate with David Smalley.
And I'm your host, David Smalley. Why do you even care? You just hate God. I hate you. Go to hell. Everybody bow your heads and pray. Let there be meat.
Wow.
People might throw up.
The South will rise again.
Dogma Debate.
That's true.
Dogma Debate.
Midget friendly.
Dogma Debate.
Speedos for everyone.
It's time for the Dogma Debate with David Smalley.
And I'm your host, David Smalley.
It's forever, and you can never leave.
Works great, smells good, no pesticides.
Well, that's two of them that you've been listening to now. And you're still a heathen. Despite everything I've been telling you. You're still a f***ing heathen. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to say that. Do you know how to work this? We need to change that. Boop it out. Whatever you guys call it. I don't know. Is it a boop or a beepy beep? I don't know. Boop it out. Do that thing you do. Hell, I don't know how to work it. I just came in here, and the microphones were on, and I just wanted an opportunity to talk to these heathens. Well, they're just so damn frustrating. Oh goodness! See, now you got me saying it again, just like I said a while ago. Oh, darn! I know what now? Shit. So I'm sorry. I don't know how to work this. I can't. Can you click it off of here? What do you mean they can only hear my side of the conversation? What does that mean? You're in my headphones. I can hear you. Trent, I don't understand what that means. I don't know what a modulator is. Stop talking to me like that. Oh, damn it, Trent, you're pissing me off. I'm sorry, I just don't know what to say else. Jesus, please help this dumbass. I'm so mad at him right now. Don't know what to say. I'm just angry. I'm sorry, Jesus. I'm sorry. I don't know how to work it. I can't click something I don't understand. What do you want me to do, Trent? I don't know. All I know how to do is talk into this thing right here. What's that? I don't know. What is EQ, Trent? You tell me. What does that mean? How come they can't hear you and I can? That doesn't make any sense. It's like it's from the devil. Okay, so it's a slider button. I just turn myself down. Like this right here. No, the other way. Okay, down like this right. I don't know. I'm sorry. Can you fix it? I don't want them to hear me say fucking stuff. Please just fix it. I don't know. It'll stop itself eventually, right? It'll stop eventually. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave. Damn you, Trent, you fucking heathen. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I just don't know. Help me, Jesus. I'm leaving. I don't understand. I don't understand it. Oh, and close your damn Bibles.